Your Omaha High with Andy Greenberg is being sponsored by On-Q Marketing, Best Buy Benches, OmahaFastFoods.com, Certified Transmission, Omaha Magazine, Monahan Financial, Shold-It, NP Dodge Real Estate, Valpak, Kohl's Pharmacy, Centrus Federal Credit Union, Ideal Water. Welcome to Your Omaha High with Andy Greenberg, the show that will leave you feeling great about yourself, Omaha's heroes, and Omaha, where we live, work, and play. So park yourself on the bench and have fun. The show that you count on every week at this time to show you how to live a better life, to introduce you to people who live in Omaha, Nebraska, who have done some wonderful things that you can learn from. And of course, to learn about a brand new organization that will work here in Omaha to help Omaha citizens and shape the city. We do that with a 1-minute PSA. But right now, before I get started with the 4 vignettes, I do want to introduce you to our special guests, because we all watch the World Cup. We all hear about international events. Well, guess what? As a result of these 2 individuals, who you will meet in just a few moments, Omaha, Nebraska has been selected for the 2015 International and the 2017 World Cup. What is the event? Stay tuned. You'll learn about it, and you'll be glad that you did, because we are going to be joined by Susan Runnels and Jackie Vinci. But let me explain some things to you which are going to allow you to live a better life. So watch and listen closely. The question of the day is, when you go to the supermarket and you're about to check out, what is that one question that the clerk always asks you at the cashier? It's a very simple answer, isn't it? Do you want plastic or do you want a paper bag? And how many times are we disarmed by that question? And even that question sometimes becomes very annoying, because in your mind, they should know the answer. But how are they supposed to? What would happen if you went up to a cashier the very first time and you said to that individual, today, I would like plastic. And if you want paper, that would be okay too. But I want to expand that for one other event. You go to the department store, and in the department store, you're about to buy something. What is the next question that somebody asks you? You know it. Do you want the receipt in the bag, or do you want the receipt with you? And each and every time that question is asked, you say to yourself, why do they ask me these annoying questions? Well, you know what? They want to help you. But it is very interesting. What would happen if, beginning right now, you went up to the counter again and you said, after the transaction is finished or after I'm done paying with it, please give me the receipt. I like to put it in my wallet. Because you know what's interesting about life? When you ask for something, you get it. And the reason why people ask you how you would like it is because they want to help you. And the moment that you get yourself in the pattern, in the habit of telling people in advance what you want, meaning I want my groceries in a plastic bag or paper bag, or I want my receipt in my wallet, or I want it in the bag, you begin to ask things about life. And when you learn how to do that, you can transfer that skill to anything else. You can say to anybody, this is what I would like out of life. As a matter of fact, you can ask yourself, what is it that I want out of life? And who will help me? Who has asked me to have the opportunity to help me? You know, it seems very small, but I want you to try it just a couple of times. See the reaction that other people have, and see the reaction that it has in your life when you begin to ask for things, number 1, that you need, number 2, that you want, but even more important than that, what you deserve. Now, many of us, when we go to the theater, we think about sitting in the front row. We want those front row center seats. But we say to ourselves, it's not for me. And I'm always reminded that for those that have gone on cruises, when you have that big show in the evening, you know what? Those seats are not reserved. And I've actually studied what happens. People get there early to get a seat. And when they get there early, you know where they happen to sit? In the back. I don't understand that. Either they don't think that the show's going to be any good, so they want to be able to get out in a hurry, or when they take a look at front row center, they say to themselves, that's not for me. I'm not important enough. Someone else is going to sit there. I don't have the right to sit in that front row. The other thing that really, really concerns me that we can all actually learn from, you know that airline that does not have assigned seats? It's the most amazing thing. When you go in, even if you're in the section A or in the middle of section B, it is so amazing that when you get on that flight, all the people in front of you have not selected the best seats that are available. And what are they? They're the bulkhead seats. You get served first. You're the one that can actually stretch out your legs. It's a great seat, or the exit seat. It's amazing how many people pass by those seats. And my question to you is, do you do the same thing? Because if you do, that is indicative of the other things in life that you pass by. What I want you to really think about doing next time you're on one of those flights and you have the opportunity to sit in a great seat, don't say to yourself, well, I don't deserve that. I'm a nobody. That's reserved for very important people. You know what? You are important. You're the one that makes yourself important. You're the one that deserves that seat. It is there for you for the taking, just like anything else in life is. And that becomes that important to you. Next time you're on a cruise, or next time you go to a theater, don't let those best seats go to somebody else, because there's only one person in that theater who deserves front row center. There is only one person in that theater who deserves the best seat. You know who that is? You. And the next time you go into those areas, the next time you go on a cruise ship, the next time you're on that airline, make sure that you get what a VIP is entitled to. And that VIP is you. Because when you do that, that skill is transferable to anything else that you want in life. So there are two things so far that we talked about. But you know what? There's actually more. What I want you to ask yourself is the following thing. Can you sing? I bet you just about everybody who just heard this question say, oh no, I can't sing. That's for somebody else. I don't have a voice. I don't sing. I don't like to sing. I will never sing. And that is an immediate answer. But ask yourself this question. When you go to a baseball game, and you go to a football game, or you go to a child's area, and somebody is beginning to play the national anthem, and they say, everybody please rise, take your hat off, and let's join together for the national anthem. How many times have you said, oh, wait a second, I can't do the national anthem because I have already declared that I can't sing? You don't do that. As a matter of fact, you join everybody else. Are you embarrassed about the way you sing? Probably not. I've never, ever seen anybody in a ball game singing the national anthem being embarrassed, no matter what the quality of the voice. Now, what does that teach you? That teaches you that you can sing. The only reason that you don't is because you have this perception that it's not for you. The question now is, how many times in your life do you say to yourself, oh, I can't do that? And you know what? You don't. You just pass it by, and you miss that opportunity. Every time somebody asks you to do something, say to yourself, you know what? It's not that I can't do it. It's that I haven't done it yet. And I want you to remember the lesson that we just learned about singing the national anthem. That's why it's important. That's why you have just convinced yourself that you are able to sing. And it is the same thing of things you haven't done yet. It's not that you can't do it. Absolutely not. The fact of the matter is, you can do it. The fact of the matter is, the only thing that you say to yourself is, you know what? I just haven't done it yet. And then you learn, and you join others who are just about at the same level as you are, and everybody is really going to enjoy it. Everybody is really going to have a great time. Now, another question I have for you. In your home, in your apartment, how often do you vacuum? I know I do about once every week and a half or 2 weeks. It's something that Carol and I do together. We clean the house. My job, in addition to dusting, is vacuuming. Now, I want you to think about this. When you look at that carpet, do you see any dust? Do you see any dirt? Do you actually go in between each one of the carpet fibers and look for the dirt? No. And as you're vacuuming, you're probably saying to yourself, this is a waste of time. I don't see any dirt. This is silly. But you know very well that as you are vacuuming and that air suction begins to go in between those fibers and they begin to fill up your bag or fill up the bowl with dirt, you realize it was the right thing to do. You realize it's the right thing every week and a half or two, if not more, to actually clean the house from things you can't see. The same is true about life. There are so many things in each and every one of us that in fact is creating a problem. And we have a choice. We can either let it accumulate or we can get rid of it. And what we should actually do with our minds, what we should actually do with everything that we do, is ask ourselves the following question. What is it that is within me that is preventing me from doing things that are more that I cannot necessarily see on the future? And I cannot necessarily see absolutely right in front of me because it is hidden. Make a list of those things and then say to yourself, I want to get rid of those. You know what those are called, by the way? Bad habits. The moment that you take a look at a bad habit and you've identified them and you realize that somewhere right here or here, they have been preventing you from doing things, then you basically, catch this word, you suck it in and you get it out and you throw it out. And when you begin to associate a simple task like vacuuming in the house, and you begin to put that together with the fact that you are getting rid of things that are hindering you, even if you can't see it, even if they're not on the surface, you know they're there. One of the things I want you to do is I want you to make a list of things that you know right now are obvious bad habits and bad habits that might not be on the surface, but you know that they exist. And then say to yourself, every week and a half, I'm going to get rid of one of these. Every week and a half, I'm going to take that out of my system, out of my house, out of my psyche, throw it out, and clean yourself up. And make sure that the only thing that is left is good stuff. Things that you want to have happen to you, things that you are absolutely going to get rid of. And when you combine these 4 messages that you just learned today, and you begin to adopt them into what you do in life, and you begin to adopt them in everything that you do, imagine how much better you're going to be. Imagine the high, the Omaha high, that you're going to be able to accomplish. So let's review these 4 items and let's see how well you will remember them. The first one is, what are you going to do when you go to the grocery store? You're going to tell people what you want. What are you going to do when you go to the department store? You're going to tell them what you want. What are you going to tell life? You're going to tell life what you want. When you get on that airplane, you're going to take that seat because you are a VIP. You are going to go to front row center when you come in early and you plan because you are the one that absolutely deserves it. You are going to be the individual that now knows that you can sing. And when asked to sing or do something else, you're readily going to get involved in it. And then, of course, what you're going to do is you're going to vacuum away everything that has been hindering you from continuous growth. Because that's what you do when you vacuum. You can't see the dirt, but once you lift it up, you're so grateful that you, in fact, have gotten rid of that. Try these over the next week and see how much they help you improve what you do. And if you talk about improvement, it is really interesting because Omaha, Nebraska is a wonderful place. Omaha, Nebraska has an organization called Omaha by Design. Interesting. Omaha by Design was founded in 2001. It is an urban and environmental nonprofit dedicated to enhancing Omaha's economic development and potential by improving the quality of its physical environment. The places where we live, the places where we work, learn, shop, worship, and exercise, and it's connected to all one. Some people view Omaha as 2 cities, east versus west or urban versus suburban. Omaha by Design sees Omaha as one city, a place where diverse neighborhoods contribute to its overall appeal, a place connected by a transportation system and employment. When you get a chance, go to your website and take a look at Omaha by Design. Google it, see what comes up, because you're going to learn about an organization you did not know about before that does some tremendous work that allows the community to develop both individually and as a whole. Omaha will only get better. It'll get better by Omaha Design because they are working to create that one Omaha. Go to Omaha by Design and really learn about how you can be part of it and everything that they do for you. And now, I've got the great pleasure to introduce you to two individuals that have done something phenomenal. They have placed Omaha, Nebraska as the #1 city in the world for the World Cup and the #1 city in the world for the International. You are about to be introduced to two people who took a goal that was the craziest thing in the world, that probably people said, this will never happen, you're out of your mind, it's Omaha, Nebraska. Who cares about Omaha, Nebraska? They care about cities like London, they care about cities like Hong Kong. But because of their work, they were taking this city and putting it on the map in something very special. Let me now begin to introduce you so they can tell their story to two individuals who have done an amazing thing for Omaha, Nebraska. And let me introduce you to #1. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Susan Runnels and Jackie Vinci.
Thank you, Andy.
Now, let's begin. And would you please let us know, #1, what organization you work for?
The Omaha Equestrian Foundation.
And what does the Omaha Equestrian Foundation do?
Basically what we do, we try to raise money and try to enhance riders coming into the equestrian industry and horse jumping, dressage, and just trying to help in that high caliber of riders and kind of enhance their experience.
And you're the executive director?
Correct, yes.
And Jackie, what do you do for the Omaha Equestrian Foundation?
I'm creative director and education coordinator.
Okay. So for those that don't know, here's exactly what happened. You guys had a dream to bring the World Cup and the International to Omaha, Nebraska. How did you think of that? And when you thought about that, what were some of the ideas that went through your mind and others about how difficult this task would be?
Well, my boss, Lisa Roskin, she is the founder and basically the brainchild of the Omaha Equestrian Foundation. And then when she called me, she was like, Susan, I need somebody to have a vision to understand not the equestrian part, because she saw this hole in the United States where it was just a different business model.
Okay.
So, and this is her gift, so she basically saw the hole,
Right.
and she created a completely different business model, and she hired me and to build that gap,
Right.
to have the public understand exactly what horse jumping is.
Okay.
It's an amazing, phenomenal sport. It's
Right.
very athletic. It's not easy to do.
Right.
It's got a danger level to it, and it's extremely exciting and fast. And so what I took that, and what I did was I tried the best way to educate people is through educational interactive displays. And so we developed a expo that is really focuses on just the educational aspect of the horse and what they're capable of doing. And that is why I brought Jackie in there, because she has really developed that program into something phenomenal.
And when you did that, who did you want to educate? Who is your target?
It's basically anybody, families
So
and
people
children.
that didn't know.
And you know what? And it's interesting because the Omaha area is very Western, and
Right.
the writing is English,
Right.
and it's an extremely different sport. Western, the best way to describe it is that Western has a saddle that has a horn on it.
Right, I remember
So you
that.
can hold on to it, and
Right.
then the English discipline has no horn.
Does it? Right.
And they are, jumping 5 feet in the air and
Right.
in 80 seconds going around
Wow.
a course. And to teach that, to teach that, you have to have displays. And the mission of the Omaha Equestrian Foundation is to raise the athleticism of the sport, and
Okay.
to do that, you have to start with kids.
Kids.
And that's where Jackie comes in, because
Right.
she has done a phenomenal job with developing field trips and getting the kids involved
Right.
in our display. And
Now, as you go through that, though, I want to get back to the basic. Who came up with the idea to have Omaha feature the International and then the World Cup? I mean, this is Omaha, Nebraska. I mean, yeah, we're getting better. I understand that. We still have a bad reputation in parts outside of Nebraska, even though it's getting better. But come on, between me, you, and the audience, to become known as the World Cup and the International, I got to ask you, that's a crazy idea.
it is a crazy idea, and we did have a lot of people telling us, no, it's not going to work. But
Yeah.
if you see a hole somewhere,
Yeah.
and then you fill it with a different business model, you just have to have gumption and belief in who you are.
Passion.
You have to have passion,
Right.
and just hard, dedicated work.
Sure.
And that is basically what we did. The International was basically grassroots, built in Omaha. And we just developed it, and we debuted it in,
right.
2012. So
yes, and I remember that in 2012, and you got a lot of great information that was out there. But then again, come on, that's Omaha. I'm still confused as to how people can come up with an idea to beat out, if I remember correctly, Hong Kong, to beat out London. I mean, who does that? Especially if anybody was walking in the streets. You know what we think about horses? Just between me and you, I hate to admit this. I go down to the old market, I see a horse in a carriage. That's all I know. Or I see a patrolman on a horse. This is basically a one-horse town.
Well,
how'd you do it?
I'm going to distree with you
Okay.
because I'm going to
That's
disagree
good.
with you because actually Nebraska is very noted as a very strong horse community.
Okay.
And there is a bubbling surface just in our dressage and
Right.
just in horse jumping racing. And it was amazing when we started developing the international. It was like this force of gravity of people just coming out of the woodwork.
Right.
And just coming to the surface.
Wow.
And the international was developed basically on the premise of bringing the World Cup
Right.
to Omaha.
Right.
And there is an emerging market, and as I said, like an athleticism sport
Sure,
in the Midwest
sure.
region. And so we've got like this little
Okay.
spark, and so we want the World Cup to bring the flame.
And I'm with you there. I will concede that point. But now you take that idea and you bring it out to the world, and the world selects Omaha. What process did you have to go through? How did you have to sell the idea to people on the team? And even more important than that, sell the idea to the decision makers that lowly Omaha should be placed on the international map.
First of all, it's not lowly Omaha.
Okay, let's be quick.
It is phenomenal Omaha, and
Right.
they have just an amazing community spirit
Right,
that
there
just
you go.
rallies around events like these.
Yeah.
And so when we went in there was no.
Right.
There was like, we are going to go for this, and we're
Right.
going to do the best presentation that we have. And we had the Omaha Sports Commission help us, and we went to Switzerland, and we created the presentation, and it was never an if. It was
Right.
when we get the World Cup. There was no doubt.
And this is something I want everybody to learn from. And I did that on purpose, trying to say that Omaha is lowly, because there are people outside of this community that would agree with that. But not these two people. These two people that said, that aside, we are going to make this happen. Now, what about in your life? In your life, when someone has an audacious goal, how do you respond to their goal? Do you tell them, oh, that's full of malarkey, it'll never happen, you're not the type of person to get it accomplished? Probably so. Even more important than that, when you come up with a great goal, who do you listen to? Do you listen to the other people like she would not listen to me and say, hey, this is never going to happen for you, this is the most ridiculous thing in the world? Because the thing we need to learn, each and every one of us, is what they went through, is the way they took their passion, their idea, and got it to happen. So let's go with the story a little bit. Let's continue with it. So you go out to Switzerland, was it?
Yes, correct.
And how did you know that we would be better than the other cities? What was it about Omaha that you sold?
You know what? We had a strong belief in ourselves.
Okay.
And the fact that we have proven in 2 years that we brought this horse jumping show to Omaha.
Right.
And the educational aspect was a phenomenal support
Right.
of them really under the FEI, which is the one that decides if we got the bid or
Right.
not. And they
Right.
just loved the fact that we had this educational component to
Okay.
it, because we're educating
Right.
future riders. And
There you
isn't
go.
that what we're all about? Is
That
trying
is.
to rise the athleticism of, boys and girls
Sure,
to see,
sure.
and if we can inspire that, and that's what the educational aspect of it is.
That was
I
out.
mean,
Now you have an outreach program that I think was part of the educational program. Bring us up to date how that outreach program worked and what part it played in getting Omaha selected.
We did an anthem contest this year.
Okay.
This last year, and we're going to do it again.
Right.
For this coming international, where we selected a high school student to sing the national anthem at our
Okay.
opening ceremonies.
All right.
Which was a wonderful way to start engaging the public.
Okay.
We also did an art contest for a young elementary student
Wow.
to submit their drawings of a horse
Okay.
for the front cover of our activity book.
Excellent
That
idea.
was distributed to all the schools who were going to participate in the international. And we reached out to all the schools in the community to come on field trips to the show. And we brought in over 1,000 local
Wow.
students to come on buses. They came in droves
Right,
to come
right,
and see these
right.
horses, to touch them, to feel them, to learn about horses and to learn about show jumping. And it was wonderful to just
Outstanding.
bring these students in and
Now,
teach them.
between me and you and the viewers, at what point did you or any member of your team say, you know what, it's not going to happen?
Never.
Let's throw the towel in.
We never threw in the towel. As I said, it was always a when and never an if. It was like, we are going to do this, we're putting our feet in, and that was at the point of, conception of the whole international. When we saw our logo, Lisa and I were like, let's go for this, and we did it, and we had the bar high, and we just keep rising that bar, and look what we have accomplished.
So I'm going to try and draw an analogy. One of the things in horse jumping is the higher the bar.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
right?
Perfect.
The
yes.
higher the bar, the more training a person needs, the more planning a person needs, as well as the horse, of course. But they have to work together.
Yes.
And that's what I'm beginning to perceive. The teamwork, the gumption, the guts, if I may, the desire, the inspiration, everything that it takes for an individual to accomplish their goals. So let's go to the day of decision. You knew it was coming up, and you knew this was the day they were going to announce it. Before they announced it, did you expect it, or were you surprised when Omaha was announced?
You know what, I think we kind of had a good feeling. We got it. We had a lot of questions after our presentation, and so we had a lot of positive feedback.
Right.
But the actual announcement of it came to us as a surprise.
Yeah.
So it was very, very, very exciting.
Yeah. Was
so,
it one of these yahoos and Yahoo, we got it?
I think it was more of a shock.
Shock, okay.
And then it was like, wow, okay.
Wow, that's great.
We caught the bus.
That's great. And that is so important for each and every one of us, because the reason I had you on the show is because I want everybody to learn from you. I want everybody to understand the greatness that you bring to Omaha and the greatness that everybody can bring to Omaha. And that's the purpose of having you on this show. I want to thank you so much for sharing all the information. I know everybody will be able to learn and to adopt these techniques that they used to put Omaha on the front of the map. So your challenge right now is to come up with your own audacious goal. Your challenge right now is to replay in your mind everything that you've learned. Never give up. Always move forward. Always allow yourself to live that vision. Get everybody else involved in it, and then see how well it works for you. That's why we have the caliber of guests that we do on Omaha High, so that you can learn from them, so that you can allow yourself to take these success factors. Because as we begin to wrap up this show, here's what I want you to remember. I want you to remember the 4 vignettes that we talked about, and not only remember them, I want you to use them. I want you to learn more about Omaha by Design, and I also want you to take everything that you've learned today and adopt them to your lifestyle. Your Omaha High with Andy Greenberg was sponsored by OnCue Marketing, Best Buy Benches, OmahaFastFoods.com, Certified Transmission, Omaha Magazine, Monahan Financial, Sholdit, NP Dodge Real Estate, Valpak, Kohl's Pharmacy, Centrus Federal Credit Union, Ideal Water,